This is Luke Easter, and you're listening to Wild Man and Steve.
You are about to listen to the intersection of faith, talk, and music. The Wild Man and Steve show starts right now.
So, Steve, you sent out a picture this week for Caption Tuesday. And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but the responses came through. Everybody was focusing on beards. Was that intentional?
Not at all. Not at all.
It wasn't. Okay.
No, in fact, I didn't even notice the beard thing until people started responding on Twitter about it.
Really?
Yes.
So I wonder, would you be interested in a no-shave year of the Wild Man and Steve show?
I would. I don't know that my wife would.
Well, now, come on. Are you going to be in charge or not? Who's the one in charge of the household, right?
Well, she's not around here right now, so I can go ahead and say I am.
What do you think that would look like? What do you think that would look like, a no-shave year for the Wild Man and Steve show?
You know, I can't speak for you. I know for me, because I have gone for several months, and it tends to get a little thicker, but my beard really does not get longer. So,
thicker but not longer. So is that a symbol, I wonder? You know, because you always talk about the prophetic beards and all that, you know, does
right.
Thicker show something?
It probably does, but I don't know what that is.
Well, if it's you, it shows like thick as in like your favorite pizza, thick crust pizza.
Maybe that's it, thick crust pizza.
Now, when you have thick crust pizza, does it ever get caught in your beard?
No. No, it does not.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to rate that opening of our show from 1 to 10 if that was the best opening we've ever had.
No, we don't. Actually, we don't want you to rate that opening.
Now, you told me last time, Steve, that was the strangest opening. And did I beat our strangest opening with that one?
Oh, you did.
But they're just going to get stranger and stranger. So now, ladies and gentlemen, now it's a part of the show, which is when I turn it over to Mr. Segway. Mr. Segway, Latin teacher, rock and metal enthusiast, who I continue to say Brian Duncan called quite the incongruity, is going to introduce our guests for the show. And we once again have amazing guests from an amazing band on this show. So, Mr. Segway, take it away.
Well, you know, you already introduced me as a Latin teacher, which, of course, that's what I do. I teach Latin to students, high school students. And obviously, I like things that are old, right? Latin, 2,000 years old. I like that. And sometimes I like that when it comes to my music. And Wild Man, you know what? Sometimes we've had hair metal artists on the show. We've had more classic rock or blues-based artists. It is time that we got some old school doom metal, some old school death metal on this show.
I think so.
Do you know anybody who fits that description?
So you think it's time?
I think it's time.
You think it's time? Yes. So that wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that that's exactly who we have on the show today, would it?
Are you serious? Wait a minute. Wait. Do we have the band Oltas from the Netherlands on our show?
Yes, we do. I was able to track them down. See, I was able to chase them down for this interview. They only have a few minutes because they're very busy. But yes, we do have them on the show. Welcome to the program. How are you guys doing today?
Hello. I'm doing good. How are you?
We're doing great. As you can tell, we're doing great, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The opening was amazing.
Yeah. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Yeah.
There you go, Steve. See, our openings aren't as strange as you think, right?
If the band likes it, then that's good. Go ahead and introduce yourselves for us, because we've got a couple of the band on the show here today. So tell us, if you will, your names and what you do in the band.
Well, thanks for having us. And my name is Remy. I'm the bass player in Oltas. And next to me is Yuri, and Yuri is the drummer.
Hello. I'm Yuri.
And we're doing this with the both of us, and we're missing our singer Peter. He's not here, and our guitar player Herman. And but they gladly let us do this because they think their English is not so well. So they said no, you guys do it. Not a problem. But we're glad we can do it. This is really nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, sure. Yes, absolutely. So talk to us a little bit about doom metal. That's one of the genres of music that, when you talk about heavy metal, I truly believe it used to be, I'm talking many years ago, that if you mentioned heavy metal, only one idea or concept would come to your mind. Where today, we mentioned the term heavy metal, and there's a whole plethora of varieties of metal that are out there. So what was it that caused you to go the doom metal direction, that route?
Yeah, I think that's not so easy to answer, I think, just because of what you just said in your question, the wide range of musical influences in the metal scene. And we are using that also because all four of us have very different influences from our background and our upbringing and our history with music. And I think we have three old guys in the band and around in their 50s, and one very young guy, and that's Yuri. So, but the three of us are bringing a lot of old school music and a lot of old music that we were used to listen to.
Yeah, so, some bands I have never even heard of.
Yuri doesn't know most of them. So that's the influence we are bringing to the table when we're writing songs and making music, and we're dragging Yuri along with that.
Yeah, I just really like heavy, slow stuff, and so that fits in perfectly with this.
Well, I would suggest to you, Yuri, that you begin listening faithfully to the Wild Man and Steve show, and we will introduce you to all of those bands that you don't know about, because that's where Steve and I come from as well. That's what we grew up with, and we grew up on all the 80s and 90s metal, rock, and even going back to the classic rock.
Wild Man? Hey, man, what's wrong?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. You know I'm a Petra fan, right?
Of course. Who doesn't know that? But what's wrong?
Well, I think I'm going through withdrawal.
Withdrawal?
Yes, it's hard to explain, but I miss the days of Petra concerts, Petra CDs, Petra albums. I would just love to have those days back.
You know, you can.
What?
Sure. I mean, even as we speak, Girder Records is having a sale on classic remastered Petra CDs and albums.
What?
Yeah, dude, I'm looking at it right now on girdermusic.com.
What?
Yeah, dude, right here it says they're selling remastered Petra albums. Like, Washes Whiter Than,
Oh.
Not of This World,
Oh.
Never Say Die,
Never say die. Oh my goodness.
Back to the Street and On Fire.
You've got to be kidding. You got to be kidding me.
Man, they even have John Schlitt's new band, the Union of Sinners and Saints. What was that?
Push the button.
Wait a minute. You want me to what?
Push the buy button now.
You know, I understand what you're saying, but
Push the buy button now.
I'm trying.
Push it now. Push the buy button now. Now.
Okay, Wild Man, just calm down a bit.
Calm down. How do you expect me to calm down? How in the world do you expect me to calm down?
Buy your favorite Petra albums now, remastered, complete, with limited trading cards. Click the buy button now at girderrecords.com.
Push the buy button now. Talk to us. How did the name Oltas come about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's a very interesting story. So Oltas, it's an abbreviation and it stands for Our Light Tells a Story.
I love that.
So in the name, it's also kind of our mission with the band. Like, we want to show people by just showing who we are, that like the light that shines through us, the light from Christ, that we can shine to other people. When we started with the band, we were thinking about a name and we searched for months before Peter finally came up with this name, and we all were like, yes, that's amazing. Well, Oltas is very easy to pronounce, and it's also a nice one of like everyone just goes like, Oltas, what even does that mean? And then we can be like, yes, so.
Then we can explain it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
so did you, maybe a little side story, Peter came with that in the rehearsal space, and he came from home, and he came with his name. So we said, where did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I was on the toilet, and there was a magazine about houses and interiors, and there was an item in that magazine, and that was about interior lighting in your house, you know. And the title was Our Life Tells a Story. So we copied that as a band name, and it fits in perfectly with our background and our message. So that was one-on-one.
I love that. I've got to say, I'm going to go on the record right here on the show and say I think that has to be one of the best stories I've ever heard for a band name. That is,
yeah, right.
I love it. So obviously, you know, as Christians, it's not easy to be in the world. Obviously, there's persecution, and it's just difficult even just to live the life of somebody following Christ. Then you add music to it. And undoubtedly, you could have more commercial success if you sang about different ideas. You sang with different lyrics.
Yeah.
So what really is your motivation? What's your purpose as a band and trying to bring your Christian faith together with your music?
First of all, focus of the band was, of course, of course making music we like ourselves.
Yeah.
So we started out by asking each other if we should be in a band together, and Yuri came with the band, and so we started out making music. And I think the message or statement it develops over the years. I think we known each other for several years, except for Yuri, he was new, but the other three guys we have known each other for a very long time. But since in 2017, we got together in various ways and on a festival. And I made a metal church sermon with a band with Herman. And it was a one-time gig. And we loved it very much. And then I said to Herman, we should be in a band. And yeah, that's a good idea, Herman said. So we asked Peter. We know Peter for several years, and we know he was a singer in a band when he was young. So we asked Peter, "Can you sing with us?" Yeah, no problem. Yeah, really like that. And so the band started out like that, and I think our faith is blending in right now. But it's not the first purpose of Oltas, so to speak. Do you understand? It's not, we didn't come together because we wanted to be a band with a message or something like that. Just, we formed a band, and because we are all four of us are bringing our faith to the table, then there are other things developing. And so now we experience, we talk a lot. When we're in the rehearsal room, we talk a lot. And we're not only playing, but talking a lot to each other about all sorts of things. And then, we can discuss and talk about our faith and what's happening around us. And we bring that along in the music and the writing and our talks about how we want to be recognized as a band and how we want to be when we are playing somewhere. When we're meeting new people. And how we want to approach all of that. And in that sort of stuff, we experience our faith.
So talk to us about that. I know I was able to see online the video that just came out, and what is it like as far as the fan base that you are dealing with when you play on stage, or when a fan listens to a track or watches the video? What kind of reaction are you getting so far?
A lot.
Good.
Yeah. The main reaction from most people I have heard from is like, wow, that's awesome. And like with the video, they just be like, it looks amazing. And the sound people really like the music when I show it and let the people listen to it. And also, well, a lot of non-believers also listen to the music and they actually really like it. And so that's amazing. Yeah, they like it for the music.
Yeah, I think the most things, the most people, there are a lot of people who known us for years, and but the band is not. We are quite a new band here in this region, and I think most people weren't expecting this. That's the main thing I've heard from people. They weren't expecting this kind of quality in recording and stuff. So the way we recorded this EP in the studio, it just went really great. And the fight with the guy who produced it and who recorded it was very good. So I think the product. How it turned out in the studio was that was very great, and I think that a lot of people were a little surprised by that. They didn't expect it to be this good. That's I hear that a lot from people. So that's really great to hear, of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Wildman is talking about the video that came out for Underground Territory, which is off of your EP, Illusion of Control. So now, am I correct? Is Illusion of Control, it is out now?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it has been out since September 3rd. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, any plans right now for recording a full-length album? Are you hoping to tour maybe at some point in 2021 or even 2022 with the Illusion of Control album? What are your plans?
Yeah, I think that first of all we're starting out December 24th here in Leeuwarden in the north of Holland, and we're starting out with a show in Leeuwarden, and I hope we can do more shows in 22. But it's really hard to get gigs here in Holland because there are a lot of great bands in Holland, a lot of new bands, and everyone is anxious to play, of course, because everyone has been silent for 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a problem here in Holland. So there are a lot of bands who want to play, and then it's really hard to get between that and to get that rolling. So I hope when people see us play in December, that will set some things in motion, and with the EP and everything, I hope we can get some kind of momentum and get it going in 22. But first of all, we're going to be touring and playing with the EP Illusion of Control. And eventually, of course, we hope we can we have the chance to record a full-length album one of these days.
when you were writing this, what would you say is the main message you are trying to get across through the music? You already mentioned earlier that you came together and that you didn't really come together around the message. It was mostly just you came together as a band. But now that you wrote the music and you wrote the lyrics, what message would you say? If anybody's out there listening who's never heard you before, what message would you say that you're trying to get across or that they're going to hear through these songs?
Well, I think we're already talking a lot about the importance of connecting people through our music. That's something, we all four of us think that's really important for us as a band, and we want to emphasize the connection between people who are listening to our music, and just the connection you make when you go into a concert or a show, and the connection with the people around you. You're all listening to the same band, and you're all there. The audience is there for the same purpose, to enjoy music and enjoy a good time with each other. And I think that's really important for us to be able to be a little part of connecting people and in the right way, on a positive note. So that's really important for us. And I think in the lyrical themes that will be I don't know if that really comes across with the 5 songs on this EP, but we of course we are aiming to make and write music that that lets people see how we see the world around us, and how we maybe how we see the interaction between our faith and the world around us and the people around us, and how we react and respond to that. And I think that are things that kind of themes are things that we can work into the lyrics and the music that is also coming up, I hope. And that's something we experience as a band. We are of course we are evolving, when we're making new songs right now, and we're talking to each other what about the lyrics. So I think there will be I think that's how do I say that? It's important to bring a message across, but I think it's important that we give attention to what people see when they listen or reading our lyrics.
Yeah,
I think that's something where we're getting better at the coming years.
Certainly, and you've already said it, and I think this is so good, and we've talked about this with a number of other bands on the show. If you've got really good music and people can really appreciate the musicianship, the songwriting, the quality of the performance, in the case of the video that you put out, the quality of the video.
Yeah.
People are going to come to you for that. They're going to hear that and say, hey, these guys are just really good. I enjoy their music. And then it's the conversations that you get to have with your fans. And it might be when you're selling merchandise. It might be after the show, before the show. backstage, those kinds of conversations where they've already accepted you because of your music, and you get to tell them about Christ.
Exactly. That's exactly the same thing Yuri and I were talking about this evening earlier when we were waiting for the time for this interview. We were talking about that. That is exactly what we're about with Oltas. And we did a number of shows in 2018, 2019. And early 2020, we did some shows, and almost every time we play a show somewhere, there's one of us is having a conversation or a meeting with someone, and that's really, really special, you know. Just that later on we're talking about it, and then Peter or Herman or me or Yuri had a conversation with someone, and then you see we're in the right place at the right time, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's really special, and I think that's something that's we're noticing that with this band, and that's really special for us, and I think that's it probably has a reason why we are doing it, I think. Probably.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about metal and how they're responding to it there where you are in the Netherlands. Steve and I are always intrigued by this because we're metal fans and we don't like to see metal go away. And in our culture, it still has its niche or its area, but it is not nearly as big as it once was. So what does it look like for you now being a metal band where you are, and what does the future look like for this style?
Cool. Overall, I think the metal scene in the Netherlands isn't that big. You do have, well, one thing I've noticed with like metal festivals here, like half the people you see at one festival, you will see at the next one as well. Yeah. So the metal scene inside the Netherlands isn't that big as far as I noticed, or at least, well, especially with Christian metal and stuff like, more like that. It's even smaller. Like if you get the really big bands, like Iron Maiden and bands like big names like that, you will get full halls everywhere you go. But like for like the lesser known bands, it's quite small.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of underground metal music in the Netherlands. There's a lot of little clubs and venues where a lot of great bands are playing, but never emerging outside of that circuit, you know. And that's.
But you know, I like that. You think back to the late '60s, and when heavy metal was really first starting to come along, and you first started having your Black Sabbath, your Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, these guys. They were often playing very small venues, very small clubs. Then, of course, the '70s hit, the '80s, you had the big arenas. But the small and underground, as you just said, in a way, that's what metal has always been. And I would add, you can be a little bit closer to your fans. It's hard to connect with people if there's 50,000 screaming fans. Now, that's great. It's fun. But if it's a small club, first off, the people are much closer to the stage. And then just even, again, before the concert, after the concert, you can have a better interaction with them.
That's true.
Absolutely. And and I think that's something that has to stay, of course. The little clubs and the little venues and the bands who are playing there, and of course that's the starting point for a lot of bands. And some bands are doing something very good, and they get really big, really fast. But of course, the majority of bands are starting out like us, I think,
Right.
with little venues, 100, 200, 300 people, 400 people, like that, very slowly. And maybe when you're making a great album and you have great merchandise and stuff like that, and a lot of good connections in the music world and music business in Holland and Germany, countries like that, then you can grow as a band. But that is it's not an for us it's not a goal. It's not a goal to grow or to get really big. I think it's we also appreciate the little venues and the little but playing in general is just something we of course we want to do, and meeting people at places where we play, and whether that's 100 or 500 people, that's not so important. Probably more important is who are you going to meet there, and why is that person there, and what's going on with them and with us. That's more important than a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just need to let you know, Steve was being very humble there, because when Wildman and Steve go out, when we go to a festival, we're mobbed. That's just the way it is. We got like 50 thousands of people around us. And
of course.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Are you guys actually surprised to hear that? I don't understand.
I think you're daydreaming again.
But no, what I like about what everybody's talking about here is that when I hear that, I hear the New Testament. That's exactly what happened with the New Testament. Jesus had how many? He had 12. And then it grew to 70. Then it went back down to 12. And then he had the issue with Judas, so he went down to 11. And in the end, when he's hanging on the cross, nobody's there. You know what I mean? And so building a ministry or a following is not something that happens overnight where you just get a bunch of people. The one thing that we learned through this whole COVID time is that people are starved for relationship. They're starved for connection. They want to connect with the band. They want to connect with the artist. And so I think it's great that you guys are doing that. And I think it's great what you guys are doing. And we can tell your heart in what you're doing. And we're excited. And we want to thank you for being with us. But before we go, I have a question, and then we have a few other things we want to ask of you before we go today.
Okay. Yeah.
My question is this: if in fact, Wildman and Steve were going to start a no shave year, would you be willing to join us?
I would be willing to consider it.
Now I know why Yuri's camera is not working.
Well, yes, exactly. And then finally, the other thing is, because you suffered through this interview and in hearing my antics and hearing what I've said, Steve has a presentation for you before you go.
Okay.
Well,
We are not just a hard rock and metal podcast. We have created what we call Wildman and Steve University. And we would like to present you guys with a doctorate degree in wild musical stylings. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
The diploma will be sent to you. You can trust me. You will receive a diploma.
Oh,
Wow.
we will frame it and show it everywhere.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, hey, thank you very much. This has been great.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us on this show.
Look at the horizon. See the stars in the clouds. Nature is calling, but no one cares about. Scenery for skies, right before thine eyes, all the governments lie.
Our Life Tells a Story. What a great name for a band. As you heard, their passion is to tell the story of their life to others and how God has impacted their own lives. All of us are on a journey. Someone may need to hear your journey and be inspired by how God has touched you. Share that with someone today. Thank you for listening, everybody, and we will see you next time.